Hello, friends, and welcome back to Orbit Shift, a place where I work with you to take your thinking, feeling, and actions towards the next level of impact. Have you ever wondered what is that common link between extreme amount of stress in your workplace or your workplace not being safe or not feeling safe or smart people getting stuck in their career with things like road rage, increasing divorce rates, increasing inability of people to handle social situations or to carry on high pressure dialogues? What could be that link? And that one crucial link is emotional dysregulation and inability to regulate negative emotions and see the positive that they need to see in that particular light. Now look at your own self and ask yourselves this question. The last time when you were in a high pressure situation, what was your reaction to that situation? Were you thinking of what can I learn from this situation? Or were you thinking about why is this happening to me? What have I done to deserve this? There is an increasing amount of evidence today which shows that marriages are under distress because of emotional dysregulation. People's inability to face challenge when their partner is giving them feedback or demanding emotions, or there are high pressure situations in marriage. As a result, there are some places where data is quoted as much as 60 to 70% divorces happening because of this. There is evidence in some places which says the cases of road rage have gone up by almost 4.4x times of what they used to be a few years back, because people are stressed out when they are out there on the road. Such is the state of our emotions, our inability to handle this. It's a very serious situation. Now, about your career, then the biggest threat to your career possibly isn't AI. It isn't competition. It could be technical skills, but there is one definitive difference between some of the top people and the others who don't cut it to the top, which is your ability to handle your emotions under pressure. In fact, there was some data I was reading which said 90% of the people in the top 5% of organizations have excessively good ability to manage their emotions under stress, and that percentage very quickly reduces the moment you come to the next 5% and then the next 5% onwards, which means the bottom 85% of the organization finds it very difficult to handle stress. There was another piece of data which said that almost 75% people have complained of excessive stress at the workplace today, that they're not able to think, not able to behave, not able to work. And I think we have all seen the evidence to it. People usually don't lose credibility because of their mistakes, but many of them lose their credibility because of how they react to those mistakes, whether it is playing a victim or it is putting up a certain kind of drama or defensiveness or whatever it could be, those negative reactions. In fact, towards the end of this video, I'll speak a little bit about the negative versus the positive emotions. Now, imagine this situation, and to get this very clear, I call this the glass versus the rubber effect. And it's often referred to as a very important thing at the workplace. One person gets feedback and gets defensive, anxious, angry. The other person gets feedback and thinks, what is it that I need to learn from this? And comes back much stronger, absorbs it. What is this? Is this intelligence? Yes, it is one kind of intelligence. It is the emotional intelligence of the person. To some extent, it's also social intelligence, because the person understands that when I'm in a structure, when I'm in a order where I'm answerable to others, it could be customers, it could be stakeholders, they could turn back and give me real hard feedback. What I thought as excellent could actually be very average. And this happens with a lot of people, that what you think as excellent may be a very average benchmark for somebody else. And this is where you will need emotional resilience, your emotional regulation to understand that some people crash like glass when they are met with pressure today, and others, very few people, are able to bounce back from the situation as the rubber would. And these people who bounce back as the rubber, and that's the glass versus the rubber effect, these ones who are able to bounce back are the ones who progress in their career, possibly don't get stuck in the road rage case when somebody really instigated them, possibly keep their marriages healthy, are able to raise better children, and in general are much better social citizens. It also could happen that some of them are very good in their careers but may fail other places, which then means that their emotional resilience is not evenly distributed in all aspects of life. That's another aspect of the problem that we have. Hope all of you understand that the criticality of emotional regulation is very, very important. Here's another thing that we need to understand. Our brain, the way it functions, whenever a pressure situation happens, whenever something negative happens, or whenever there's a confrontation that happens, let's say you got a harsh email, let's say you got a critical message, let's say there was some failure that happened and the customer is screaming away, and then all the other social situations that I was talking about. The reaction that we have evolutionarily is the same that possibly 10,000 years back we would have had if we were faced with a saber tooth. Absolutely, it's just the same. That fight or flight, that amygdala hijack that happens in the moment where your heart beats faster, your breathing changes, you possibly clench, or some of us want to run away from that position. So that reaction that happens, that is a very critical moment for us to understand that I need to now regulate myself. So the problem isn't this fight or flight reaction that I'm having. The problem isn't this amygdala hijack. Biologically, we are reacting exactly the same way as evolutionary we would have done with that saber tooth incident. There it was a physical threat. Today, possibly it's not a physical threat, but it's a emotional threat. So the problem is in the emotion that we are having. The problem is in the reaction of our brain. The problem is, am I able to sense it? Am I aware that this can happen to me? And am I aware where what I can do about this? And this is where that 90-second rule has to be understood. So Jill Taylor, if I remember the name correctly, Dr. Jill Taylor proposed this, that the chemical life of an emotion is just about 90 seconds. After that, it is our thought that sustains it. And what are the kind of thoughts? The thought of the bad past, the thought of the present embarrassment, the thought of the challenge in the future and failure, all of that. In fact, in many situations, the problem that we have is not the emotion. The problem is the hurt of the bad past and the anticipation of a failed future that is really bothering us and making it a troublesome present for us. And that's where many of us need to learn to pause, to breathe, and to focus our attention on the right choice of thoughts. Hope I have made the case for you for emotional regulation. I invite you to read, research, study, and learn a little bit more about this so that you can gain enough understanding of this concept. But with that little introduction that I gave you, I also want to leave you with a certain focus of what to do to change this for yourself. And that's where the one thing that you can do most effectively while you learn and you train yourself, the one thing you must change is the question in your mind. Many times when the situation arises, when we are faced with a negative situation, when we are faced with a negative feedback, when we are faced with rage or hurt or any of these kind of situations, most of us ask, why is this happening to me? That's how we react. Why now? Why here? Why do I need to deal with this? Why again? Why one more thing? Modern life has a lot of pressure, and it's but obvious that in that state of constant amygdala hijacks that are happening, or constant rush, or constant scatterbrain kind of situation that we have, we don't want to deal with anything more. So it's a natural reaction. My invitation to you is to do what successful, focused, emotionally well-regulated people do. They don't ask, why is this happening to me? Why now? Why one more thing? Why do I need to deal with this? They ask, what is this situation trying to teach me? What can I do differently in this situation? They only think about what is in my control. In any situation, there are controllables and there are uncontrollables. And even in the controllables, there are certain things that you can do just about immediately, and then there are things that will take time. Intelligent people focus on choosing those thoughts, those reactions, which can help them do what they can do in that situation. That single question can shift your focus and it can contain your reactions significantly. It can help you filter information. It can help you see the context correctly. It can help you choose the right kind of reactions to what you have to do. That is the difference between emotional dysregulation and emotional regulation. Besides that one thing that you change, which is the question that you're asking, I will invite you also to learn a little bit about what could be the positive and the negative emotions. Like a lot of us face fear and anxiety today in our life, and it's a very common emotion. Everybody wants to perform, everybody wants to look good, everybody wants to be appreciated in almost everything, from social media to home to office to any situation. We want to perform. And when that does happen, or in anticipation of something going wrong, we have fear and anxiety. Instead of that, choose joy. Enjoy every situation. Enjoy every current situation that you're in. Say, what can I take from here? How can I absorb this moment? And that's mindfulness as a reaction. That's an important pair you need to learn. Another, a lot of people have anger as a reaction to everything. So, starting from a little irritability to anger to rage, that whole spectrum is something that very commonly gets experienced by people almost every day now in our modern life. At one point in time, it could have been once or twice or thrice in a month. But now the modern life's pressures are such that people are being angry all the time. Almost all coaching clients that I talk to, workshops that I take, people who come to me for spiritual guidance have reported anger as a common issue. And that could happen. Why? Because people's expectation, they're thought about boundaries, they're thought about standards, they're like all over the place. People, when it comes to themselves, have much lower standards as compared to the standards that they impose on others. But obviously, you will be angry all the time. Instead of anger, could you choose love and affection? Could you choose to appreciate anyone and everyone that is there in front of you? Look at the human side of them. Look at their struggles. The person is not the person who's standing in front of you alone. The person is all the life struggles that that person is carrying. And what else do you meet that person with other than compassion and love and affection? Think about this. Or common emotions like sadness because of losses, loss of motivation, and various other things. Instead of that, can we live with gratitude, saying that, yes, I have another day, I have another few resources, another chance to look at this? A lot of people are living with disgust today, disgust about this, about that, about people's behavior, about society, about many things happening in the world. Instead of that, can we look at things from interest and curiosity? Can we look at how we can impact society differently? Very important choice. There are one too many people today carrying guilt. I failed at this, I failed at that, I could not perform here, I could not come up to that standard. Instead of that, could we come up with contentment and peace, with a feeling that I am where I am and I am where I am supposed to be because of all the choices that I made, which is fine. I'm only going to make better choices in the future. Can we come at it from that perspective and be peaceful in the situations that we are in? And because of that guilt, many people also carry shame, where they feel that they are not up to that mark, up to that standard. I can't speak, I don't look good, and this and that. I have not achieved so much in life. Instead of that, can you have pride in whatever you have accomplished to whichever degree? With, yes, the motivation that I am going to improve and I'll do better. Yes, you have to make healthy choices for that in life. And again, could you look at life with awe instead of looking at life with fear and anxiety? These are just some simple choices that I would like to leave you with. So, those two things that I'm leaving with you as a change: one, Change the question. Instead of asking, why me, why now, why one more thing to deal with, ask, what is it here to teach me? And instead of the negative emotions, start choosing positive emotions in life. I'm sure you'll do so much better in emotional regulation as compared to where you were. Fundamentally, what I'm also asking you to do is to separate the way you're performing in life or the way life is around you from your identity and your inner space. Be content, be positive in your inner space. Let there be chaos around you. Just because the world around us is chaotic, we don't need to become chaotic. That's something that you need to understand. If you give into that chaos, you lose your identity, you lose your peace. If you stay isolated from that chaos, you go deal with whatever part of the chaos is for you to deal with, your roles to deal with, and then come back to your own self, which is where having me time, having some recharge will really help you. Overall, in your career, remember this. Um, you may get hired for talent or so many other things, but there's one thing that people will respect you, love you, and get connected to you for, and that is going to be your emotional maturity, your emotional stability, especially when the going gets tough. And it is worth your time to invest in your own emotional maturity, your own emotional regulation. I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions for me on this, let me know. I will try to answer them. And if it requires another video, I will make that for you. But my encouragement, read, learn, understand a little bit more about emotional regulation. Give yourself a fighting chance to do better with your career, with your marriage, with your social life, and in general, your own peace and contentment. I will see you soon with another topic like this. Till then, thank you and take good care of yourself.